rollout of the S-Stock trains now complete on the Metropolitan line, it's the turn of the Circle and the Hammersmith and City line to be upgraded, as the C-Stock is retired and replaced by the S-Stock instead. We join train operator Alex Harrison for 2 days in January 2014 towards the end of the rollout period for the new trains. Alex has worked for London Underground since 2006 and has previously worked as a station assistant and signal operator before becoming a train operator on the Hammersmith and City line. The booking on point for the line is at Hammersmith Station, from which drivers operate both the H and C and Circle Line trains, as the trains share the same track and use the same stock of trains.
Cool. Done.
With the introduction of the new S-Stock trains, which are 7 cars in length, 1 car longer than the C-Stock trains they're replacing, many stations along the line have had to be extended, including Hammersmith itself.
Hammersmith Station has seen quite a bit of a difference because of the upgrades and everything. S7 stock trains were brought onto the line. They're a lot longer than the C-Stock trains that they actually replace. Where I'm stood now used to be a ticket office. So ticket office at Hammersmith used to be here, all had to be pulled down so the platforms could be lengthened, meaning that trains could actually fit into the station.
As the S-Stock departs, Alex goes to pick up his C-Stock train. He'll be driving one of the new S-Stock trains tomorrow. Alex shows us around the traction brake controller, known as the TBC for short, the handle which controls the train's movements.
C-Stock train, you drive it with your left hand, same as the S7. So basically any train I've driven myself, I've always been a left-hand driver. Now you could look at the TBC and sort of wonder how it works. Well, at the moment, this is a position, it's called rheostatic 1 and hold. It acts as the parking brake and it also acts as the weakest brake as I'm driving along. Basically, if you move the handle to the left, you go. If you move it to the right, you stop. The first motoring position we come to is shunt. There's lots of resistance across the motors. The way the motors work, there's a load of electricity with resistance. And shunt takes away a little bit of resistance. As you can tell, we're crawling along. Series is the next part. We're going along a little bit faster now because some more of the resistance has been removed. So we're going a little bit quicker. Then we go into parallel. And most of the resistance is taken away. So you'd think to yourself, all right, you turn that way to go. Why doesn't it say slow, bit more fast? Well, that's the reason why, because we want the technical expressions for the control of electricity on there. We do have something on the train called the rheostatic brake. Now, if we move the handle back towards me again, that position is off and release, which is basically coasting. Now remember, we've taken some of the resistance away to get the motors to work. When we use the rheostatic brake, we put the resistance back. So that's the first one, rheostatic 1 and hold. You can hear the motors turning back again, then minimum, normal, maximum. And we can take the brake, we can put it on and off as we like. The whole train is not rheostatically braked because the rheostatic brake only works with motors. The trailer cars on the train, when the rheostatic brake is being used, they will be using brake blocks.
Just as the Metropolitan line A-Stock trains had, the C-Stock is one of the last few stocks on the tube to have a Westinghouse brake.
Okay, so approaching Wood Lane Station, so going to off and release.
Alex moves the handle between two positions. One is the service application mode, which decreases the pressure in the brake pipe and slows the train down.
Little bit more, and stopped on the mark.
Alex tells us that he likes the C-Stock trains because they are built on non-complicated mechanical procedures, something which fits with his own personality.
Yeah, I do seem to have done things in a very traditional way. I mean, when I was working on the stations, I mean, we had conventional lines and manually driven trains down there, such as the Northern Line, the Bakerloo line, all very old-fashioned. Then I worked in a signal box, literally was an old signal box, complete with levers and track diagrams with light bulbs behind it, and these bulbs went out and came back again when the trains were there, so it's all very old-fashioned as well. And then I end up driving a very old-fashioned train as well, complete with its little Westinghouse and all the other little features. So yeah, I've always sort of done things in a very traditional way on the Underground. It's a way of working that I actually really like. I mean, I'm a firm believer in not overcomplicating things, keeping things simple, because there's less to go wrong, and everybody knows what's sort of going on as well.
Is there more to go wrong on an S-Stock?
There can be, because the software, they've got a lot of software on them. These trains, when you look at them, are fairly basic. If something goes wrong on a C-Stock, I'm fairly confident I could do something to rectify it, to get it moving again. With the S-Stock, I'm not so au fait with the software side of things, and to be honest, I don't think most drivers are. You don't get trained to that degree on it. So certainly with something computerised, it can make the job harder if there's problems of that nature.
The S-Stock fleet of trains have been built by Bombardier in Derby and have been delivered and rolled out to the London Underground network at the rate of one a week. We managed to get to see an S7 unit being delivered all the way from the Midlands down to London. It comes out of the factory being driven by two Class 20 locomotives attached, and then takes a slow 8-hour journey, carefully scheduled between passenger services, down south through to Aylesbury. It eventually joins the London Underground network at Amersham in the small hours of the morning. From here it will be taken down to Neasden Depot, where it will receive its final checks before being put into passenger service. A couple of weeks later, we join Alex again briefly for what we think will be the last time that he will ever drive a C-Stock train.
Am I right in thinking this might be the last time you ever come into Hammersmith on a C-Stock?
Well, to be honest, looking at the rate that the C-Stock are going, and the fact we haven't got many left now, yeah, it might well be, because we're filming this, like I say, when there's hardly any left, and I've got some leave to take after this, so might well be. I remember the first one I drove with an instructor was 5529. What we got here? 5596. So 596 might be the last one.
Alex,
Yes.
I think that's it. I think that's the last time you're ever going to drive a C-stop.
I think you could be right.